shocked and disappointed. We haven't learned a damn thing about Conor based off this fight. Cowboy didn't show up. Those are the words Stephen A. Smith said in the post-fight interview from Conor versus Cowboy, um, on the ESPN interview with Joe Rogan. And to be honest, Joe Rogan went over this, and they've been going back and forth. Conor has told Smith to apologize to Cowboy, and Rogan pretty much said in his interview with Josh Thompson, if no one has seen it, which I'm sure many of you guys have, that you call Cowboy a quitter getting cracked by one of the bigger puncher in the sport. He has the most wins, finishes, one of the biggest bonuses, most fights, and you call him a quitter. Thompson then later referred to his sparring video, Mitt's video when he's hitting the pads. You can't look like that and talk shit, which I agree. Stephen A. Smith also said we didn't learn anything about Conor. Rogan said in his podcast, you learn he can perform more than a year and a half out the game. You learn something. You just don't know what we saw. Thompson said what he learned from someone who can take 15 months off and come back and perform the way he did, like against someone like Cowboy Cerrone, is absolutely amazing. And I have to agree on that. And then he later went on to Ariel Helwani's podcast, his show, which I found pretty stupid and pointless, because Smith just tried to, I don't know what he tried to do, but he's just making himself look more weak or dumber, because he really doesn't know much about the sport of mixed martial arts. And he said it himself. He's not an aficionado like Brett, Chael, Bisping, DC. He knows they are the experts. And he said, show nothing in 40 seconds. Conor showed nothing in 40 seconds. It won't cut it against Khabib or Masvidal. I think in the post-fight interview on ESPN, I think that's what he really tried to say. He didn't really try to say that Cowboy didn't show up, or Cowboy. He may basically shit on Cowboy. And I just think he was not using the most right words to describe what he saw, because we all know he didn't see the most. He didn't express his words the right way, I think, just to defend him. And Chael Sonnen actually threw out a video saying they should apologize to Smith. He said if you are a fighter and Stephen A. Smith is talking about you, it's a big deal, which I agree. The numbers go through the roof when Stephen A. Smith comes to the microphone, which I also agree. And people are arguing, and yeah, Joe Rogan is a bigger name, so the UFC doesn't need Stephen A. Smith. That's debatable, because Stephen A. Smith could bring in a different audience from the sport, from a casual person who doesn't watch MMA, from someone who just follows his show, the First Take, whatever it's called. So although Smith isn't as big as an influence as Joe Rogan, he's definitely could bring more audience. And just to finish this off, because I don't want to make this video too long, Luke Thomas pretty much shitted on Smith. He has a 30-minute video that was out, and just last week on his live chat, he pretty much went off. He ranted about the whole Stephen A. Smith situation for like the last 20 minutes, and I found that pretty hilarious. He said, of course, Smith will be covering because he's a senior talent and he's given the opportunity. He also shit on him because when Smith went out on Ariel Helwani's show, he said shadow fighting when it's actually shadow boxing. And Smith also looks like a casual because he said Conor had an exhibition boxing fight with Floyd when it was actually a pro fight. And that's what Luke basically corrected him in that 30-minute video he has on this whole situation. And he came on Ariel Helwani's show and pretty much mixed up his words, and Luke put him on blast because he said, did we see enough? And Thomas said he did not say did we see enough. He said he saw nothing different about Conor. And in my opinion, well, Conor McGregor, we did learn a lot. Just like Rogan said, he's still a dangerous threat. And what I think Smith tried to say is that we just don't know in those 40 seconds that he has the ability to beat the top 170 contenders or even beat Khabib because we didn't see his full game. But we know he's still dangerous as fuck. And the dick move, another thing that Stephen A. Smith said, and Luke Thomas pointed it out, was that Cowboy folded like a cheap tent, which is a dick move because he didn't have to say that. And he also said on an interview, Smith said, step back, let me catch my feelings, my bearings, let me catch my breath. And Thomas basically said, it's easier said than done when you're in the cage. You can't just break from a clinch so easily. And Nate Diaz has actually came out and said Rogan and Conor or Cowboy should apologize to Smith, which I think is stupid. No one owes nobody apology because everyone's just speaking their own opinions. But you can't argue the fact that Smith probably shouldn't cover the UFC, but at the same time, it's good for the UFC, so they could grow an audience coming from Smith, because I'm sure Smith is also, like I said, has his own followers from other sports, and he could transition into the sports of mixed martial arts. So yeah, that's it.